Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just setting it up on YouTube. We'll go live in the next 1 minute. Namaskaram, everyone, and a warm welcome on behalf of the Executive Board of IAP Twin Cities branch for today's very special webinar. This is on the occasion of World Breastfeeding Week celebrations by IAP Twin Cities branch, and we're very fortunate to have a galaxy of speakers and faculty from across the country. And IAP Twin Cities branch has always been at the forefront, taking academics and extremely good engaging content to all its members. And we are very fortunate that faculty across the country, from Delhi, from Anantapur, from Mumbai, all are joining us for today's webinar. And we also have a very special session where, apart from just talking about what needs to be done, we have two very special talks by people who have done it on the field, one from Andhra Pradesh and one from Telangana. And I'm sure you will enjoy these sessions. Conveying regards on behalf of Dr. Sankoch Bhaskar, who is not here, but I would request our past president of IAP Twin Cities branch, past president of PATS, and also NNF Telangana, Dr. Ajay Kumar sir, to please welcome you all on behalf of IAP Twin Cities, and also just give his inaugural remarks on behalf of all the IAPTCB members. Ajay sir, just for a few words before we begin.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Sri Krishna. On behalf of Twin Cities branch of Indian Academy of Pediatrics, Hyderabad, and on behalf of the President, Dr. Sankoch Bhaskar, I welcome all the faculty who are attending today and presenting their viewpoints on this important topic during the World Breastfeeding Celebration Day, and the participants lined up in this 1 week of the program. And we have, I welcome specifically Dr. Professor Faridi, Dr. Keshavlu, Dr. Yadaya, and Dr. Agarwal, and other obstetrics and gynecology colleagues. I also welcome our treasurer, our secretary, and in absentia, Dr. Bhaskar, our president. I hereby start the program. I request Dr. Sri Krishna to take over to start the program from the agenda, which has been listed out already. Thank you very much. Have a nice program.
Thank you, Ajay sir. It's always a pleasure to have someone senior like you guiding us as we take up interesting programs. I'll now request our treasurer, Dr. Vamshi, to say a few words before we begin. Dr. Vamshi, please. Vamshi, unmute.
Am I audible?
Yes, now you are. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. It's an absolute great opportunity to speak on behalf of IAPTCB in front of my seniors, Ajay Kumar sir, and in absentia, Sankoch Bhaskar sir, president, and my dear friend and dynamic secretary, RSV. In front of all the senior speakers here today, we are going to enrich the knowledge about breastfeeding and their real experiences, both in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, in front of the national speakers and national leaders about world on the occasion of World Breastfeeding Day. So without wasting much time, thanks for giving me opportunity. I'm Dr. Vamshi Kanle. I'm the treasurer of IAPTCB. Thank you so much. So the way forward, we are looking to know the experiences of Anil sir, Damari Yadaya sir, and in front of our Faridi sir, who is a principal, and Ajay Kumar sir is there already, gave his remarks, and AIMS BB Nagar Madhusudan sir, and Maunika, Dr. Maunika is assistant professor there. Thank you, RSP. Thanks for giving me because breastfeeding is so important. Although for many diseases, developed and underdeveloped nations were quite significantly discussed upon developed and underdeveloped. Although we are in the developing nation category, we can proudly say that the whatever breastfeeding what we give, if we see the numericals numbers, India will top the chart, that we are following it, and thanks that we are encouraged by the governments, both the nation and the state level. Thanks for enriching with all the knowledge. Thanks to IAPTCB, especially. RSV, over.
Thank you. Thank you, Vamshi. On behalf of BPNI, we have one of very senior members, Dr. Keshavlu. He has been my teacher when I was a postgraduate. He looks very young even now, but he is very senior, and he's a teacher of all the faculty and the trainers. Keshavlu sir, just 1 minute for you to say a few words on the occasion of World Breastfeeding Week. Unmute and speak, sir.
Keshavlu, please unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself.
Dr. Shanti, you can stop screen sharing. We'll just go to that after a while.
So it is my great privilege to invite Professor Mma Faridi, sir, under whom I got trained in year 2006 at University College of Medical Sciences, Guru Tej Bahadur Hospital, in the first batch of international training on IAPTCB. So it is really, I am really thrilled to see Professor Faridi on the board here today. So I wish you to hear the very good deliberations from you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Keshavlu. And today's special guest of honor for us is Dr. Neeraj Agarwal. We recently met at AIIMS BB Nagar, and I should say it's one of the fantastic institutes coming up in the state of Telangana. We've always dreamt of how AIIMS would be, and I was very fortunate to have a tour of the AIIMS of Telangana, AIIMS BB Nagar, and conveying regards on behalf of IAP Twin Cities branch to Dr. Bhatia, the Executive Director, and the ever dynamic and supportive Dr. Neeraj Agarwal, who's the Medical Superintendent and is also one of the coordinators for us, doing a lot of programs at AIIMS and also across the state of Telangana. Dr. Neeraj, over to you, sir. Would like to hear from you before we start our program.
Okay. Thank you, Sri Krishna, Dr. Sri Krishna. And it's my privilege that you invited me for this opening remarks for this webinar. And I really see the galaxy of the start vault for the breastfeeding, like Dr. Ajay Kumar, Dr. Mma Faridi, well-known personality for a field of the pediatrics care and especially the neonatal care, Dr. Vamsi, Dr. Demra Adia, Dr. Keshavlu. And so at this point of time, I want to say one thing related to that. This is a really auspicious week for the breastfeeding, and we are working for the breastfeeding, especially in August. And I heard that now they are making a week for every month, so that our focus not be diverted from the breastfeeding, as we know that breastfeeding is a very good for preventing the neonatal mortality and also the later on the malnourishment of the children, maybe SAM and MAM. And basically Telangana is facing double whammy related to this breastfeeding, because the early initiation of the breastfeeding is somewhat difficult in Telangana, because the Telangana have a highest cesarean rate of the cesarean section, and that's why the things are not moving in those directions that we should start the early initiation of breastfeeding. With the help of IAP and UNICEF, we are trying to do some pilot project in our institute as well as in a district headquarters for starting of some for this early initiation of breastfeeding, especially the cesarean mother. So let's see how we can focus those things, and I hope that Dr. Faridi, with their vast experience of this breastfeeding area, they will also highlight that's how we can go about this thing, especially the early initiation of breastfeeding amongst the cesarean women. With this background, I really welcome you all and congratulate the IAP Twin Cities that they have organized this seminar. Not only this seminar, but they are going to have an activity for all week, this week long. And the Sri Krishna is coordinating all those activities. So thank you for inviting me, and it's over to you, Dr. Sri Krishna, for further proceedings.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Neeraj. Privileged to welcome one of the senior most pioneers of breastfeeding and BPNI in the country, Dr. Mma Faridi. And a very short introduction, sir has retired as the HOD of Pediatrics of UCMS and the GTB Hospital in Delhi. As Dr. Keshavlu said, he's been the teacher of our teachers. So for someone relatively young like me, he's like my grandparent. And it's a pleasure, sir, and our absolute privilege for Telangana and Hyderabad to have you with us here today. And I now hand it over to you. How to improve breastfeeding practices. The stage is yours, Dr. Faridi, sir. Unmute, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, dear. Thank you for making me a grandfather. Thank you so much. In fact, I'd like to tell you that my early days in neonatology, in fact, happened in Nilofer Hospital, when Dr. Sheila Kangaroo was there. So I had my training, earlier training in neonatology actually at Nilofer. And it's really been a great pleasure to be here this afternoon. Although we are also organizing a number of programs with the IAPTCB, and in our own college, we are conducting a Mma program, and which is going on. But when the year told me this, okay, definitely I'd like to be there. So without wasting time, I'll like to talk about my talk given to me. And are you able to see my slides?
Yes, sir. But you need to go to full screen or the slideshow.
I'm making it. So is that now visible? Yes. So
sir, yeah. So now you need to click on the 3 dots that you see, sir. There are 3 dots there, right? Yeah. Just click on that.
I click. So
hide presenter view.
Okay. So now this visible?
Yes, perfect. Just go one slide so that we know you're able to move.
Yeah.
Great, sir. Now go back to the first slide. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So, friends, I was giving a topic, how to improve breastfeeding practices. This is actually the crux. We all know about the advantage of breastfeeding. We all know what ultimately it does, but there are very few ideas how to actually make it a part of our practice. And I was hearing Dr. Agarwal, he said that in Telangana, large number of deliveries are taking place by cesarean, and therefore they are not able to start breastfeeding in an hour. In fact, the IAP brought out a book when Piyush Gupta was the president of IAP, for the parents, and one of the chapter was on breastfeeding. We also brought out 2 videos, small videos on how to feed the baby after cesarean section. It is very much possible to do that within an hour. And so we can have talk on that also sometime when we go along specifically. We can have discussion with Dr. Agarwal and Keshavlu and other friends. So it is possible to start breastfeeding in all difficult situations, cesarean or forceps, any kind of delivery. Well, before putting the things in, let's see what actually we want to achieve. Optimal infant feeding can be described in 4 headings. First and only feed within an hour. That's the first requirement of optimal infant feeding. And then exclusive breastfeeding up to 6 months of age. And then starting semi-solid foods and liquid from family pod, very important, after 180 days. So without any doubt whether there's a preterm baby, term baby. Sometime back there was a discussion on, we wanted to bring out the guidelines for the baby who was born at 32 weeks or born at 30 weeks, what should be the ideal time for starting breastfeeding, but it's the complementary feeding. So still we are not going on that. In any case, the breastfeeding to continue for 2 years, and after 6 months, you also start adding complementary feeding. So this is what in nutshell we want to achieve. But unfortunately, what we have seen in a National Family Health Survey 5, that there's many drop in the breastfeeding rate. And one of the reasons probably was the COVID pandemic. And people were actually worried about, nobody knew about how to manage the COVID, how to manage the issues with that. And we are still struggling, we're not very clear about. And you know, in spite of the guidelines brought out in conjunction by NNF, IAP, and FOXY, people were worried about the starting breastfeeding. So there are actually issues. It was in 2003, 2004, it was HIV. And then somehow we overcome that. Now the COVID has come. So it is really a problem. And really we have to think, what should we do to have a proper optimal infant feeding for our children? Now see, breastfeeding is not just nutrition. I like to draw my attention to my all friends here, young and my colleagues, that it is not just nutrition. It is much more than that. And that's why we are worried about. See, we are not concerned with this. Nutrition, we all know the benefits. I'm not going to the details, including the lowest SDP and economic benefits. Look at the beyond. We also know that some of the things we know: immunomodulator, preventive infection, allergy, maturation of functions of and anatomy. In fact, the even in a term baby, the lung is developing. More of the alveoli are developing. Even in a term baby, forget about the preterm. So still the maturation of the function and the anatomy is going to happen. Modulation of the metabolism plays a very important role, and for later on adulthood diseases. So we know that all these environmental friendly, we also know that. The problem is this: how ultimately we put it into the mind of our people, the health managers, health administrators, that it's not just the nutrition, but it is much, much beyond the nutrition. Look at this one. It's a very close to my heart slide. I always begin with this. Why this is a problem with human beings? When there's not a problem in animal kingdom, all mammals, including the whale, the bat, which hangs upside down on a plant, on a tree, but feeds the baby. So why this is a problem happening with us? See, all carnivorous animals, they feed in lying down posture. And all herbivorous animals, generally they feed in standing posture. Look at here. What is happening in animal kingdom? Offspring is on feet soon after birth, within 10-15 minutes, moves toward the udder because of the pheromones which are there, and then makes the position by itself. So pups, one or two or more, they're all making position by themselves, and the mother is just lying down. She's sleeping. So no role of the mother as far as the feeding is concerned in animal kingdom. Look at here also. She is busy. The mother is busy. The baby is comfortably making the position, but whatever is. So again, no role of the mother. Look here again, the tigress. Again, she is busy, maybe looking towards some prey, and the cub is feeding. So again, no role of the mother. Now come here to our situation. Here, the mother holds the baby, mother makes the position, and mother offers the breast. So there is actually no role of the baby. So it's just an opposite what is actually happening in a mammal kingdom. And that's actually makes the things proper. Nobody is going to teach and train a cow how to feed. Nobody is going to teach and train a deer how to feed. But then here, every woman, every mother needs help. Some kind of help is always required to make this. And what is needed? Only to achieve this much. Only to achieve this. These 4 cardinal signs we need so that the baby can take the areola, lactiferous sinuses, and the nipple inside the mouth. And in this posture, the baby can make a teat. Remember that we all know that the baby doesn't feed on the nipple. It makes a teat, 1/3 nipple, 2/3 areola, and then takes the milk. So in order to make a baby able to make a teat, he has to have this posture. So only this much to be achieved, but mother has to do it. Now, such a situation in a hospital, mother has undergone almost about 6 to 8 hours, great discomfort. Last 2 hours of delivery, great discomfort. She was not eating. She was not able to sleep. Maybe some amount of dehydration. And now after the delivery, maybe episode giving. Cesarean, again, she has undergone the stitches and all those things. And now it's still a pain. At that stage, we won't this moment to start feeding and out. Don't you think this is a little unethical at this stage? Until we're able to comfort this mother, until we're able to make this mother understand why this is important for her baby. So we need a fair amount of counseling. And these, unfortunately, counseling skills are missing from us. We generally give orders rather than giving a suggestion. So if you can say that, we say a nurse goes to the mother, say, just sit down and you start feeding. That's very important for your baby. And these are the advantages of this. You do that without realizing that this she's still uncomfortable. She has not slept for night. If we can say that now the baby is there, and generally baby needs feed within 15-20 minutes, is so active in an hour. See, the baby is also nice. So do you think you'll be able to feed at this stage? Can I help you? And your initial milk will be a boon for your baby. Now, it's same amount of time is spent, but the things have changed. And this is what I use is some empathy, some praise, some relevant information, and then I give you suggestion. Will you be able to do it? So this is what actually needed. And unfortunately, our whole UG and PG curriculum is devoid of it. If you remember that in 1990s, when the neonatal research program came to India, first time, but Dr. Vidyasak, again, from your state, he was the team leader, came from America, and the team came and they all trained about 24 people. I was fortunate to be trained under him. And see, there, from that onward, it became a part and parcel of UG and PG examination. And therefore, it picked up in the country. But unfortunately, the breastfeeding and the difficulty of breastfeeding or nutrition never became a part of our examination system. You will be surprised that in spite of competency-based curriculum under from 2019, the skills, essential skills to be certified doesn't include the feeding part. We are going to write to, our chapter is going to write to NMC, kindly include this as a basic essential skill at the UG level. Now, so if the baby is not able to make a position, this happens, a poor attachment. And that is cause all kinds of problems. Then ultimately the feed becomes, mother is not able to feed and unsuccessful breastfeeding takes place. This is what I was referring to, Dr. Raji. I'd like to have our attention that initiation of breastfeeding after 6 days is very much possible. And this is how, but remember that here, no role of the baby or the mother, a third person actually is required to have this baby to feed. So this is what actually so needed. So right from the animal kingdom, no role of the mother, to our system, role of the mother, to cesarean section where a third person actually is required to give feed. Now, so we have to think, what should we do to improve the breastfeeding practices, which is actually is the topic for today. So if we put our heads together, we can divide this into two basic things. It will not happen just by doing a in-service training of, it's not possible to do that, considering the whole country. I'd like to share with you that from 22nd May to 6th June, the Government of India Ministry of Health has a very ambitious program for Northeast states and all the union territories of India. And they chose me as a trainer to train a faculty from All India Institute of Hygiene Public Health, premier institutes of our country, established in 1939. And that come under the Ministry of Health. I trained 6 people there, and they will be now training people from all the Northeast states and all the union territories, including Lakshadweep and Jammu Kashmir, which has become a union territory. So see, the issue is that it will not solve a problem. We cannot train all the workers and health workers in all the health facilities, both private and government, in the system. So what actually we need, this my thinking is that make the college curriculum planning in a way include optimal nutrition. And this is important. We're not talking about breastfeeding. We talk about junk food. We talk about the sugary drinks, which are the children or adolescents are so fond of. So this whole should become a part of the college curriculum and include breastfeeding as nutrition there. You'll be surprised that I've seen all home sciences books. They talk about nutrition, but they never mention anywhere that breastfeeding is also a nutrition. All values of everything is given there except the breast. So we to make them sensitized that it's a part. So we start right from the very beginning at the college level. And then we come to the community awareness programs on breastfeeding and complementary feeding. You remember, you must be aware of our Honorable Prime Minister gave a call to make 9th of every month as a under the Janani Suraksha Yojana. On 9th, both private and government sector, they'll be examining the pregnant ladies free. So that day was made. We don't have any such thing like so that we can also talk about the feeding issues with the mother. And then we need dire need to restructuring the UG PG curriculum on nutrition, breastfeeding, complementary feeding. Remember that breastfeeding is not up to 6 months. And breastfeeding is not just initiation of breastfeeding. In fact, it has to be up to 6 months exclusive breastfeeding, and please continue breastfeeding up to 2 years. And this has to go to the mind of the people, the health workers, is extremely difficult. Our own doctors, our own resident doctors, they are not able to do that. They just stop 4 months, 5 months, and they switch over to bottle feeding. This has to go to the brain that remember, in second year, the breast milk provides 1/3 of the calories, provides 45% of the essential amino acids. Or 95% vitamin C is fulfilled by mother's milk if it continues in the second year. And definitely from 6 months to 1 year, this provides about 50% of the nutrition of the requirement of the baby. See, the stomach size of the baby at 8 months is only 200 ml. So you cannot feed too much to this baby. He will not take. And until the breastfeeding continues with it, the nutrition will not be complete. And therefore, if you look at the growth chart, you'll find up to 6 months baby going well. And beyond that, there's a fall. The growth trajectory slows down, goes down. So I think we must always talk about the complementary feeding, that the breastfeeding is up to 2 years and from 6 months with complementary feeding. Only then the optimal feeding is complete. So feeding issues are different in first 6 months. Feeding issues are different after 6 months of age. So that also to be included in our curriculum. Then case management on breastfeeding difficulties. I'm sure all my friends are here. We all passed MD, DCH. You will never find one case discussed during our PG days or in our UGs that here this mother has come. She said she's not able to breastfeed, or she has a complaint that I have not enough milk. This kind of case management must be discussed in our UG PG curriculum and should become a part of the examination also. Until this becomes a part of it, I'm sure that we'll not be able to. And what they should include is skills on nutrition counseling and support skills on breastfeeding. I think then will be, when a student come out of it, it'll be, unfortunately, the responsibility of feeding has been thrown only on pediatricians. But see, pediatric session, why not? N number of patients go to pediatric session. Then they have otitis media at 1 year of age. They go to ENT session. They come to our own hospital. And therefore, I had a meeting with my professor of pediatric surgery in this college. And I said, sir, your students and your JR, they are not just talking about, they are giving bottle. Why bottle feeding to this baby who was undergone hernia repair? Why not mother's milk? So all these issues, so that means we need across the board, medical superintendent, chief medical superintendent, they all have to be actually taken on board that that not only pediatricians and obstetricians, but all specialty, because they're dealing with the children and they need some orientation. They have difficulty, they can always call us. We will be here and help them. So I think that's a very important part on us as far as, and we are going to take up this issue with the NMC. Now coming to what else is required. See, this actually not in our heads. Breastfeeding and complementary feeding should be a part of the healthcare delivery index. We are having contraceptive data, we are sending this data, that data. Although the government has brought it also that ASHA is collecting this exclusive breastfeeding. But they themselves are not sure what is exclusive feeding. So I think under the Mma program, and I'll show you one slide of that also. So we need to make it as a Health Care Delivery Index. The second is the monitoring, handholding, support, in-service training, evaluation, incentives. All are important. Incentives are actually given to ASHAs in this respect and under the Mma program. And then special programs on breastfeeding with community support. NI days are there. We have immunization days are there. So we can, nutrition day actually is there in some of these states where the stunting rate was very high, 59% or so. So we can have some kind of that at PSC level where the mothers also assemble and some community elders are there. And then we seriously need operational research. How to ultimately go over and suggest some measures by which these can become a part of the system of delivery system. So my program, I think, is a wonderful tool available with us. It is a government program available on Ministry of Health and Welfare site. All the tools are available there, both in Hindi and English. They can be translated to regional languages. And you all know that this was again during the World Breastfeeding Week. Our honorable minister that time, JP Nadda Sahab, who is now the president of of BJP government, he inaugurated. At that time, the Madhuri Dikshit actually was made the ambassador, brand ambassador for this program. Unfortunately, this again, like all programs, these programs also get confined to some only few institutions, and some of them are actually doing it. AIMS Bhopal conducted it. I was there, and then some other institutions also in UP also have, like the BHU one course, AMU also one course are conducted. So I think this is a good course. Tools are available, so not much to be done. And they can very well be adapted by the government also, because this is the government program. So we at state level, we can talk to the state functionaries and they take up it up, and 4 days training is only, so not a big one that can be done. So under this program, intensified breastfeeding promotion campaign targeting all things, and this is what is ultimately tools even for ASHAs are available. It's a 1-day sensitization program. So it's a big ambitious program, and I'm sure that government also ready to support this program in terms of arranging the. So I'm sure that the tomorrow's success depends on today's efforts. If we do efforts, I'm sure that we'll be able to make it happen. So thank you so much, and I'm sure I finished in on time. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Over to you, Dr. RSV.
Yeah, Dr. Yadea, please. Yeah.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It's very informative lecture. Of course, in 20 minutes, we have covered all the areas and how to improve the breastfeeding practices in areas. Thank you so much, sir. Now I invite Dr. Shanti Anil from Vijayanagaram. Dr. Anil is a pediatrician and nodal officer from Vijayanagaram, and he's a very hardworking pediatrician. And Vijayanagaram essentially is an NNF accredited unit. It's one of the best units in the country. And I request Dr. Anil to share his experiences. Thank you.
Dr. Shanti, you can share your screen. Dr. Shanti, are you there? Dr. Yadea, see if you can share your screen and start your session. I'll check what is the issue with Dr. Shanti.
Okay. Anjo.
Dr. Shanti, are you able to share screen?
Yes, sir.
Next.
Dr. Yadea, if Dr. Shanti is available, shall we give it to her?
Yes,
Shanti,
yes. Let Madam complete first.
Yeah. Then fine with me. Dr. Anti, please share screen and go ahead.
Madam, not audible.
Dr. Sri Krishna. Dr. Sri Krishna.
Yes, sir.
I think there is
Dr.
some
Shanti, see if you
connection
can sort
problem
out
with
the
the,
issue.
yeah.
Yes.
Let's
See
go
if you
to
can
the
sort
next.
out the issue with connectivity.
Yeah,
Let's go ahead with Dr. Yadeya's presentation in the meanwhile. Okay. Dr. Yadaya, sir, please go ahead.
Yes. Hello, sir. Can you see my screen?
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Yes, this is visible.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Next slide. Right, I should thank these two gentlemen for helping me to start newborn unit in 2008. Right. So this was a unit started in 2008 with a few warmers and phototherapists without any adequate disposables and trained staff. In fact, I should tell you that I was the pediatrician, staff nurse, and everything in the unit. It started with a 6 phototherapists and 6 warmers with no other gadgets. Then in 2008, we have been running the unit only on the donations because it was not a sanctioned unit from the Apex hospital. And we never had the supply from our hospital. We used to ask the donations from the patient. But to be frank, we cannot take donations from any patient. Collecting money in government hospital is an offense. But with the help of administrators and the understanding of the patients, we were able to collect 3.6 lakhs in 3 years at the time of discharge after thoroughly explaining the need of the money to have the disposables to run the unit. So by 2012, we have discharged more than 3,500 babies. Then we have come to the notice of the UNICEF, and it was starting SNCs all over the country. In 2012, SNCU Nalgonda, 2008 was, we used to call it as NICU. It became an SNCU in 2012 August. Almost we are completing 10 years by now. And this is the SNCU Nalgonda. And special care newborn unit. I think special care newborn is a level 2 neonatal unit at the area hospital, district hospital. And it is the same by means of staff, capacity, and HR and infrastructure all over the country. And this is the inborn, outborn, breastfeeding and KMC units. And this is the best practices what we have been doing at our unit, like hand hygiene being the topmost, like the single most intervention in infection control practices. Apart from this, the regular postnatal rounds and the breastfeeding within 1 hour. This is the main area what we have been concentrating and this is the topic now. Apart from the other practices and skin to skin contact in the labor room and operation theatre is one what we have been practicing, and thoroughly counseling the parents, maintaining the temperature, and breastfeeding where breastfeeding direct not possible, feeding by the babies with express breast milk, the transport of EBM, and other interventions to save the preterms like bubble CPAP and developmental supportive care and Kangaroo mother care, and newborn screening procedures like ROP screening, OAE screening, and follow-up clinics, and training the nurses on CMEs and by on-top programs. Ours is the FBNC Regional Training Center. And to say SNCU Nalgonda is the first NF accredited SNCU in the country. This is the hand hygiene. Doesn't matter if it's a doctor or attendant, mother, anybody. Everybody has to go through this procedure as it is the single most effective intervention. And this is how we make the postnatal rounds daily to talk to the mother and to solve the trivial issues at the bedside regarding the breastfeeding and maintaining the temperature and the regular newborn OP other than the general pediatric OP. And this is the counseling. As you know, counseling is not a one-time process. It's an ongoing procedure. It's at the time of admission, during the stay, and at the time of discharge, and at the time of follow-up, or whenever the mother comes to the hospital. And this is the feeding the baby on the breastfeeding table in the labor room and keeping the baby on skin-to-skin contact in the operation theaters. And this is a very good initiative, but to do all these things, you need to have the cooperation from all the healthcare providers like your obstetrician and your labor room staff and everybody. And it's the best practice if you can do it effectively. We're doing on and off, it's not regular procedure, but it should be done and for each and every delivery. Then it will be more useful. And this is one emerging barrier, I should say. I think all the pediatricians who are working in private and public sector are seeing these bags. Previously, a mother used to carry the baby in the lap of the mother to have the skin-to-skin contact. Now they are coming with a pouch. And what we used to say no to all bantas in the previous good olden days. Now everybody, you see any mother, they come with all this pouch. And you are hampering the skin-to-skin contact with the baby. And they're carrying like an article. It's not like a baby. Baby should be in the lap of the mother, not in these bags. And we should strongly discourage this. You can see that, and I have been telling the mothers, you can see the photos after taking this picture. See how the baby is with the mother, in the lap of the mother, and in the bag. And you don't surprise after some few years, they may come in a suitcase with the bag. And this is one calling bell from a labor room or operation theatre SNCU. This is to avoid an inordinate delay from the calls from the labor room. And by calling to the intercom sometimes may be difficult, but this baby installed in the labor room and theater is doing a wonderful job. And we are able to attend on time, and we are able to avoid some birth asphyxias. This is how we transport our babies from labor room or operation theater SNCU. The transport incubator, though available, we are not able to operate because of the human resource issues. And the best mode of warm transport, what we are doing through by means of embrace and this plastic paper, polythene bag, I should say. The feeding practices, the selection of the feeding practice is very important, depending on the maturation of the baby and the skills of the baby. That is tube feeding, spoon feeding, cup feeding. The feeding is by express breast milk. We never use formula milks. This is the milk collection from house, from the mother's own milk. It's not donor. The mother who is there in the post-operative ward, we collect the milk from them and we put the time of the expression and we hand over to the SNC so that they can use for their own babies in the unit. This is the milk collection in the house. It's the mother's own milk. Sorry, not put it as donor milk. And this is one important slide. For the babies admitted to the unit, from the outbound units from our network hospital, around 60 kilometers from SNC in Nalgonda. And what we are doing is, we are sensitizing the attendants to transport the milk from the around the SNC, in and around SNC around 50 kilometers. That you collect the milk at the mother where she is and put the time and preferably in the steel container and hand it over to the bus driver. And we say their attendants at our unit that go and collect the milk and hand it over to the unit, so that we make sure that we use this milk for their babies. By using this, we are able to provide the mother's milk to the babies and curtailing the use of formula milks. This is a bubble CPAP as a part of comprehensive preterm care at our unit. And so far we have almost 587 babies were kept on CPAP, out of them 76% of survivals. So developmental support. Development, this is the support going to decide the fate of your baby after discharging from the neonatal unit. It is not just the survival. The need of the hour is the intact survival. When it comes in 2000 and 2010, our motto was how to survive a baby or a low birth weight baby. After 2012, when the SNCs are coming to the place, now surviving the baby intact is the more important rather than just mere survival. As you can see, mother and father are allowed to take care of the baby, and mother is the best nurse, you know. And we have a sound spa for all preterm babies. And as you can actually say, water bed to avoid the bed sores for the extremely preterm babies. And to use sometimes by repeated rocking movements, it will avoid some amount of apnea also. And this is the ROP screening. We have been screening our babies for ROP for babies less than 2000 grams. And this is our ophthalmologist trained in ROP. And this is a baby of 650 grams, smallest baby in 2015, who underwent laser for ROP stage 3 at SNC in Nalgonda. Is for the first time in the country that a baby being done laser for a ROP stage 3 at any SNCs in the country. The baby was 530 grams at the time of laser. And this is a Queen Elizabeth Diamond Jubilee Trust with the help of Public Health Foundation of India. You can see she's the Countess of Essex and who sponsors all these ROP screening program. And we are part of the 4 teaching hospitals like Gandhi, Usmania, Nilofar, Gandhi, SNCU Nalgonda and Sangareddy was part of this program. And we have been awarded the Red Camp to the work we have done in ROP screening. And this availability of Red Camp made our ROP screening very easy. Since then, we have been using this Red Camp for screening ROP in all our preterm babies. And I would like to say that there was a small short film made on this baby that you can go on the YouTube, that Go Girl. It was made by Public Health Foundation of India. And she, the Countess of Essex, she released that movie across all SNCs in the country. This is the early interventions like ROP screening, and the OAE screening and the birth defects and early intervention for babies with any abnormalities like babies with asphyxias. And this is we screened for almost more than 2,000 babies with ROP and 25 babies underwent for laser with ROP stage 3. And this is newborn hearing screening, screened more than 5,000 babies till date. And 28 babies were failed to OAG examination, and they were referred to the higher center to get the BERA done. This is the physiotherapist taking care of the babies in the unit. This is the dental services. This is identifying the birth defects. We started little late, and for our DAC was non-operational for 2 to 3 years after establishing 2. And this is KMC. And I should say that KMC is the single most intervention will save the more babies than all the interventions put together, which is close to the heart of SNC in Nalgonda. You can see the father and mother who are doing KMC. And this is an COVID pandemic could not stop our SNC in Nalgonda from practicing KMC. You can see all the babies practicing, all the mothers practicing KMC with good marks. And the baby to the right side is the baby of Navya, 750 grammer. Mother was COVID positive. In spite of the COVID pandemic, with the good mask and all the infection control practices, she breastfed the baby, and the baby is now 1 year doing fine. And apart from this, and we do have some awareness programs in our hospital. Now you can see the left side, some people singing a song. All of them are my hospital staff, and one of them wrote the song. One is X-ray technician, one is lab technician, other is an audiologist. The group of mothers in the postnatal ward regarding the importance of KMC and KMC awareness day. Apart from the facility Kangaroo care, we have been doing the community follow-up and promoting the home-based KMC even after baby of discharge, because we are discharging our babies at a weight of 1.5 kg, and they need to practice KMC even after going home. That we have been encouraging all mothers by means of posters and all the IEC of going to their places whenever it is convenient. And these are the cross-learning visits to SNC Nalgonda from the state of Karnataka, and from the, you can see Dr. Vinod Bhutan from Stanford School and John Jopai from Harvard, and this is Dr. Srinivas Murthy from Dan Fernandez Hospital. This is our NNF Level 2 certificate in 2013, and we take pride in saying that we were the first in the country to get NNF accreditation among all the SNCs in the country. And the first national conference on Kangaroo mother care, it is conducted by us, SNC Nalgonda, in our Telangana state, very successfully. You can see Dr. Sheshivani and all our KMC stalwarts all over the world. And coming to the rational antibiotic practice, this is one of the good practice what we have been doing since 2017. Our antibiotic rate in 2017 was 22.2%. Now our antibiotic percent is 4.75. This 3.6% now. Average is 8.2%. By rationalizing the antibiotic practice with keeping a justification form, we could able to increase the admissions and decrease the referrals and improve the survivals and decrease the sepsis. And more than this, we could able to reduce the duration of stay in the babies by 2.3 days in our hospital. So to conclude, judicious or rational antibiotic practice, judicious short-term use of antibiotic gives more survivals. You can see this is a few slides on rational antibiotics. And you can see from 2017 to 2021, first is that in 2017 it was 1016 admissions. 2020-21 it was 1380 admissions. And this is the trend of antibiotics decline from 22.2% in 2017 to 3.6% in 2021. This is the survival graph, 79.5% in 2017 and it is 91% in 2021. And coming to the deaths, it was 10% in 2017, 6.4%. So referrals, it's not deaths. And the referral yellow line is graph is the referral one, 6.7 in 2017 to 1.8 in 2021. And this is the duration of the stay from 7.6 days in 2017 to 4.7 days. Almost 2.9 days is the reduction in the duration of stay in the hospital. And this is the Kangaroo mother care practice. It is over a period of 7 years. And to say that this slide is the impact of the KMC survival and babies less than 2000 grams. It is from 2015 to 2021. You can see in 2017, the gradings are put in red marks. In compare the survival rates, that is 78%, 82%, 79%, 21%. In 2017, the survival rate was 63.8% when compared to the other years, that was 72, 82, 97, 27. And going after doing the statistical analysis like chi-square and all these things, it was very clear that the KMC improves more survivals when compared to the mothers who have not practiced KMC. It's again, you can see in 2021, the survival rate was 79.4% compared to the previous years. The average duration of KMC was 10 to 12 hours. Weight gain was 12 to 16 grams per kg per day. Average duration of stay was 21 days. Breastfeeding rate was more than 90%. Sepsis was 2%. So this study shows that effective implementation of Kangaroo mother care and increased coverage of KMC surveys a significant impact on survival of babies less than 2000 grams. Apart from all these best practices, we have been doing research activities based on the work done in our hospital. Like we have presented papers, national and international papers, based on the feasibility and safety of bubble CPAP in preterms with respiratory distress, implementing Kangaroo mother care, and prevalence of survival and morbidity, mortality rates of babies less than 1500 grams, and ROP screening at SNC in Nalgonda, and regional antibiotic practice at SNC in Nalgonda. And these are the various awards and received at all the conferences, and state and national conferences. And to say that success stories, I have two success stories to share just for the sake of this webinar. And you can see that, I think all of you can see this motorcycle. You will be surprised why this motorcycle. But there is a baby on this motorcycle in the folder for the petrol tank. Same, the baby was 650 grams. Delivered in a private nursing home. The baby was carried over this motorcycle to over the hospitals in Nalgonda. Went around all the hospitals for 1 hour. Because as the baby was 26 to 28 weeks, nobody was ready to take. It was landed at SNC in Nalgonda. Of course, she had with a stay of 180 days. She had all the complications of prematurity. In spite of all the complications, baby could come out as an intact survival after a period of 180 days. And this is the mother, and this is the baby who underwent KMC for 120 days. And I strongly believe that it would have not been possible for me to save this baby without practicing Kangaroo care, as this is the best mode of developmental support. And the baby is now 6 years, going to school and attending online classes during the COVID period. It was the smallest baby to survive in any SNC in the country in 2016. And this is a music therapy, what we call sound spa, and like sounds like ocean waves, brook, wind, rain, and thunder. And we do record voice of the mother and play to the babies who born too soon in our unit. And this is the baby, 650 grams, 28 weeks, 120 days of KMC, and duration of stay was 118 days. At the time of birth, after 1 month, 1 year, and now it is 4 years. Now the baby is 6 years old, going to the school. And I'm extremely happy to say that this is the intact survival, and very privileged to be the treating doctor for this baby. And this is other baby. So that baby of Navina. 930 grams, other baby 900 grams. One baby died on second day, and mother expired on post-operative day 5 because of coagulation abnormalities. And mother was seropositive. As the mother was HIV, she died because of other reason. And the father didn't want this baby because of the female gender. In spite of her repeated requests, he said, "I don't want to have a female girl child to me." So she was in our unit, and we used to take care of this baby. The regular practice, what we do in our unit is, we do practice KMC for all the preterm babies. And as there was no mother and no attendant, we could not practice KMC. And we started doing KMC practice with our staff nurses, as you can see in this photo. And the baby was irritable and excessively crying, though she was feeding well, but not gaining the weight. And we didn't understand, and we had come to a conclusion over meeting in the department that the baby is not happy or not adjusted or maladjusted, maybe because of the change in the provider in doing the KMC for every 8 hours. Then we could select a mother for KMC for doing on a hybrid basis. That's what we are calling is a surrogate mother. Did KMC for 2 months, and you don't believe it was a tremendous weight gain with the baby. And he was so adjusted with the baby, and the weight gain was very, very good. And this baby was in the unit for a period of 1 year. And for various reasons, we could not discharge this baby. I think it may be the longest period anybody can keep the baby in SNC in this country or any other country. Because we had all the problems, the baby was with us, and we performed all the rituals what a family members would do for their children. And more than that, we can see all the pictures from time of birth to the time of first birthday. The baby was moving in our unit on a walker to the inborn and outborn unit and everything, because we could not hand it over to the orphanage as there was a epidemic outbreak of gastroenteritis in the Shishugura. We could not transfer the baby. The baby was in our unit for 1 year, and the baby was fine, except she had the hearing problem, and she had the deafness, and we could not get it done. And at the end of 1 year after celebrating birthday, we handed it over to the Shishugura and shifted to the state home Hyderabad. But the unfortunate aspect is, baby was there for 2 years, of 1 year plus 2 years, 3 years. They could not get the cochlear implant done. And they sent back the baby to Nalgonda, saying that we cannot do now. So it was very unfortunate. Everything was fine. Baby was doing well, but his hearing was not there. And you'll be surprising. And now the baby is in the United States of America, that is Alabama, to Telangana to Alabama. Naveen has become Jai Brooklyn Walker. She has been adopted by an NRI. She underwent cochlear implant. You can see the cochlear implant in the second photograph in the down stain with an yellow ribbon. You can watch the cochlear implant. And she is able to hear now. She is speaking. I am in touch with this baby regularly, and she is attending the school. The baby is extremely happy, and we are extremely happy with the treating doctors of this baby. And this is my wonderful team. I should thank the IAP for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yadia. Shanti, are we now able to have you on? Dr. Yadia, stop screen share.
Sure, just a minute. Vamsho?
Sir, on top of the screen, you'll have, sir. So you can just click on the red one, stop share.
Red one.
Yeah.
Right.
Stop share, and it will stop. Yeah,
Right,
done.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you,
Yadia.
sir.
It's been an inspirational journey. Now I'll request Dr. Shanti to please share her screen and proceed. Dr. Shanti, can you just let us know if we're audible to you? Yeah, I think now you should be able to do. Yeah. I think we'll.
Sir, one of you please help madam.
Yeah, we're trying to help her, but I don't think we can do much if there's no connectivity there. Rains are a big hassle, especially in Visakhapatnam, Vijayanagaram. So, Dr. Shanti, shall we proceed with the panel discussion and then we revert back to you? All right, I think we're not able to even connect to her. So I'll, Dr. Shanti, just give it a final try. Yeah, Dr. Shanti, we can see your screen. Please go ahead. Just give me 5 minutes. Just I can see your screen. It's now. Shanti, can you speak between your click hide. Shanti, can you hear us? No, I think you already saw a message to your microphone disabled. Shanti, can you not screen share?
Audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, madam. We are able to hear.
Okay, okay, sir.
Please.
Sir, very good evening. I feel very privileged to be part of this wonderful webinar, and it is such a nice experience to listen from all the experts. Now I am from SNCU Vijayanagaram. I am working in SNCU Vijayanagaram Gosha Hospital for the last 6 years. I just want to share like few of the exciting stories and experiences throughout my journey in SNCU. This is our team at SNCU, and SNCU at Vijayanagaram.
Dr. I can't see. I mean, we can't see the screen.
Can't see the screen, sir.
You need to share screen. Zoom, okay, you have to share screen. You can just exit whatever presentation slash whatever is there, exit all of them, go to Zoom and then open presentation first and then share screen.
Okay, so okay. visible, sir? Sir,
Yeah.
are my slides visible, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. I'm working in Vijayanagaram for the last 6 years, and I just want to share some of my experiences when I'm working with the little babies. Our SNCU Vijayanagaram is started in 2012. That is almost 10 years ago, to decrease the neonatal mortality rate and, as you all know, to catch the sick, needy, and deserving newborns in golden minutes and provide the evidence-based quality care. And common problems that we see in our SNCU, as everybody see with the newborns, is prematurity, low birth weight, asphyxia, sepsis, and jaundice. And I just want to share with you a story, interesting story about two sisters who were born at 28 weeks. These twins were brought to our SNCU around 4:30 a.m. in the morning, and one was struggling to breathe, and other was in cyanosed. So our team purged into the action and started the resuscitation, and we resuscitated them, and they started crying and breathing, and they needed CPAP and also surfactant in the beginning. Then we placed umbilical vein catheters, but when we all this thing we did it immediately because our SNCU is equipped with all these facilities. But when it came to counseling the parents, first we explained to them it may take almost 10 to 12 weeks for them to come out of, it may take some time. But when we counseled them, then the true story came out, and mother told us that she is a second wife to that man, and he left the first wife because that lady had only female babies. So she is afraid now whether what will happen to her. That to two babies, girl twins were born. So then they said they want to take the babies, and she doesn't want the babies because she's afraid whether her husband may not accept her. Like what he did to the first wife will happen to her. So we started counseling, and because babies were on supports, we were not happy to remove the support and hand over the babies to them, especially when they are reluctant to take care of the babies. So this went on for 2-3 days. Then they put immense pressure on us, and we as a team decided, like after all of us discussed and thought, okay, let them go if they do not want, but we want to take care of them and want to give them a good chance. If they survive, they will survive, otherwise it's okay. But just because they were born female, we do not want to leave them to die. So we as a team, we have decided if it requires that we have to take care of everything, like we have decided to do that. Then then we were very rigid that we will not give the babies to them just to take home by discontinuing all the supports. Then parents said, if you want these babies, you keep, we want to go off. Then we were afraid, suppose after few days, if babies they don't survive, they should not come and say that, like, no, we don't know what is their intentions. So when we asked our administration for help, they said, you are inform the police and then send them off. Then actually it is quite challenging because that is what not what we are trained in all these aspects. But somehow all of us believe that we should save these twins. So what happened, then we called the police, and we just want a statement that they will not trouble us if something goes wrong with the babies. Then when the police came, they asked us, do you need the baby, mother and father here? We said only at least a few days in the initial period. If the mother gives some breast milk, babies they have a better chance of survival. Then we were trying to convince the mother, she disagreed, but The lady police, she said, "It's okay, madam, you leave her." And they took that lady for 10 minutes into a different room, and she came back and told that she will stay for some more days with the to take care of the babies, to help the babies. Then the first 1 week, the mother was almost cursing all of us for making her do what she doesn't want to do. So slowly, like then our loving sisters, they really were with her, and they supported, whole team was supporting her. Slowly this lady understood that like we are keen to help the family. So the mother came out of the, as she's initially she used to give a little bit of milk, then slowly we encouraged her to do KMC, and mother slowly got attached to the babies, and she started taking care of the babies. Meanwhile, we also had to face so many political challenges because that man was working with some politicians. They came once, our RMO sir called and told, "Shanti, why are you so stubborn for these babies? And everybody is putting pressure on us. What is your problem?" Then I said, "Okay, sir, you send them to me. I will talk to them. I will hand over if you all feel so." Then those politicians came, and then I asked our DUO, Rambabu, to just record what they want to talk to me. So when they noticed that we are recording, they said, he again took a class to the father. "See, you don't have to spend any money. What is there if your wife stays there and takes care of the babies? You don't lose anything. And also it is not legal," because he knows some legal aspects. So he told, he actually convinced the father to make the babies stay here, and actually it worked out for our advantage also. So with all these things, we were, our team, our sisters, and all of us were supporting the mother and helping her. And she understood, and she was totally convinced that we are with her and we are not against her. And of course, it took a lot of challenging times for me and for my staff. And we were really afraid that they do something for us when we go out also. I was really concerned, actually. So after all this, mother got very much attached to the babies, and she became attached to all of us. So father also slowly, initially he was against us, but slowly he also started listening to us and respecting us. And as the babies are growing, and when the mother is feeding them and giving KMC, a family again became like, no, both mother and father, they were slowly accepting the babies, and they understood. A lot of counseling we gave, the importance of girl child and how they can help the family, and it is the right of those babies to live and with dignity, and they have to show them love and affection. Slowly you can look at the mother, how lovingly she is looking at the baby. So with the two twins, slowly they grew up, and we supported her really. Our staff used to feed when the mother is tired. So this is they brought the baby for one baby they brought for the first year celebration. The other baby, one of their relatives have they offered that they will take care of the baby. So the baby is with them. Later, when we requested, they brought both the babies, and if you can see that is the lady who is taking of the care of the second twin, and this is in the follow-up OPD. And these were the babies who were born extremely premature and extremely low birth weight, and they are slowly growing up. And very few months back, they brought one baby for little concern. And the family is also very much attached to us. Once in a while, they keep calling us, and babies are growing very well. And so that is the stories. Like this, we have so many stories, but this is the story I remembered so much, because it was very challenging, and we had to go through so many, we have to really swim upstream. And so all these survival of these babies are possible because of our best practices we have in, some of them I mentioned here. Feeding policy, KMC, counseling, visitors, aseptic precautions, etc., etc. I know most of the SNCUs follow these things. And last but not the least is building the team and the team spirit. And our team is very strong, and we share equal responsibility to take care of these babies. And we encourage all the mothers to give KMC, Kangaroo Mother Care, and we have a beautiful Kangaroo Mother Care unit. And when the beds were provided and partitions were made, but mothers could not use those beds, we requested our administration to provide with those backrests, as you can see, and also the chairs. See, we make them sit on these chairs, and opposite to them there will be a big screen displaying Kangaroo Mother Care and how Murki sir videos and all those, and also so many breastfeeding videos from the UNICEF we will be displaying. And whenever we get an opportunity, we encourage them to give KMC and also breastfeeding. We counsel a lot of mothers and also the caregivers. We feel counseling mothers is easy compared to the grandmothers. We find it it's very, very challenging to convince a grandmother that her daughter can feed her baby. Once the daughter is delivered, she thinks the daughter is sick and she cannot feed the baby. I think these are the very strong superstitions and bondages that we feel it very challenging to face the grandmother. It is easy for us to counsel the mother and educate them. But grandmothers are the ones who will come and say that my daughter is not getting milk, only water is coming. I don't know, so many programs we conduct about the breastfeeding, but still, see, for them it's once or twice they come to hospital, but for us, thousands of times we have to keep telling them about the importance of breastfeeding. And also when they do it all together, they will get some they all do it together, and they sometimes they have fun, and one of the mothers will say some jokes, and they all enjoy basically. And this is our Kangaroo Mother Care unit, where we make them use their gowns and also do Kangaroo Mother Care. We keep encouraging them, and mothers are also very happy when they are separated from all the influences from outside, and they enjoy watching videos. And we do encourage fathers to give Kangaroo Mother Care at SNCU. Some fathers, basically we feel it's easy to convince the father about the that mother can breastfeed and all the good practices. And we often give general counseling, and we take, and fathers are also coming, and we tell them about the importance of breastfeeding and Kangaroo Mother Care and the mother's nutrition. Mother's nutrition is also a big challenge because they do not give them food. They give only coffee, water, and some bread to the mothers. And these are the strong beliefs. But it is very easy to convince the fathers compared to the grandmothers. And these the twins, where both mother and father, both of them were involved in giving Kangaroo Mother Care and also taking care of the baby. Here, father participated in take care of the baby very well. And this is another father who participated in giving Kangaroo Mother Care in our unit. And like this, so many people. And this is a small baby brought to us at 800 grammer, and mother died while baby was delivered from outside, and only aunt was there. We motivated the aunt to give kangaroo mother care, and also we trained the grandmother to take care of the baby. She I can say that she did exceptionally great job with real mothers, and we definitely encourage exclusive breastfeeding. When mothers are operated and baby, they cannot come to the baby, we encourage to bring express breast milk. We use the urine containers, sterile containers, to bring the milk. And if mother is not here, some far away place, we still encourage them to get the milk. If that is not possible, we with the after counseling, we give donor milk also. And second good thing that we do is encouraging mother crowding in SNCU, because sometimes we have so many babies, and only 2 or 3 sisters will be taking care of them. So we partly transfer the responsibility to the mother. At the same time, mothers will feel more confident to take care of their babies as they involve the care of the baby, and also when they sit together and they talk to each other. Very recently, we had 8 premature babies of around 1.5 kg weight. So we told them, whoever, like every day we check weight for these babies. We told them, whoever increases more than 30 grams, we will give a gift. So they were really enthusiastic, all the mothers. Like, no, they really tried hard, and like, no, we also have fun taking care of these mothers and the babies. And we also give mother gowns, we provide. And by encouraging mothers to in the care of the baby, it will also decrease the cross infections. And so this is what we are doing, and also it will decrease some load on the staff especially when we have to take care of lot of sick babies. And this is how the mother and the father, for the twins, they were giving kangaroo mother care and involved in the care of the baby. And counseling, we usually during counseling time, we call everybody, including fathers, and we feel it is more they follow better if the fathers understand, because once these mothers go home and they need support, so we include grandmothers and the fathers in these counseling sessions. Also, we give so much importance to counseling during discharges also, and also the follow-up visit also regarding the importance of breastfeeding. And we counsel them wherever we get opportunity. We keep talking to them, and because for us it may be millions of times we have to tell for many people, but for them that may be the only contact that we have. So with this, we are able to give good preterm care by encouraging breastfeeding and KMC. And at the same time,
Dr. Shanti, last 2 minutes. We'll have to go to the next session.
Yes, sir. And teamwork with the same motto to promote what is the best for the baby and the mother. So this is what is helping our unit to move forward and taking care of thousands of babies with special needs. And this is another 928 weeker. We discharged at 1.4 kgs. And at the end of it, the both family become very close to us. And thank you. Like this, we have so many stories to share. But when sir asked yesterday, I could remember, I could put some slides together. And it is very, I'm very privileged to be part of this webinar. And all our work is going smoothly and more efficiently because of our wonderful staff and the team. Thank you very much, sir, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Shanti. It's such an inspiring journey and many such success stories from SNCUs. And that's the reason I wanted specifically one from Telangana and one from AP, just so that we are aware of all the good work which is being done in district hospitals. These are not big medical colleges, but small district hospitals which are able to cater to the newborn who really need care at that point in that district. Thank you. We are very proud of the good work and continue the good work. Thank you, Dr. Yadea, sir. It's almost like a expected performance from you. And thank you so much, both Dr. Yadea and Dr. Shanti, to share such inspiring stories from AP and Telangana. Now we'll move on to the last session, which is a very good, interesting panel discussion. So we've heard from Dr. Faridi on how do we improve breastfeeding. We have seen how Dr. Yadea is able to ensure breast milk even for those babies where mothers are not there in the unit. Dr. Shanti has told how she is able to do it for preterm babies, small babies, and also the overall survival, how it's getting better. Now, what is the way forward now that we have one or two islands of success? But to improve breastfeeding rates from the current 37% in Telangana to much higher, we all need to work, and there are different stakeholders. Each one of us has a responsibility. Dr. Shanti, you can stop screen share. So to take this panel discussion forward, I now invite Dr. Madhusudan, the professor and the head of the Department of Pediatrics at AIIMS BB and with him would be the co-panelists. I now hand it over to Dr. Madhusudan. Sir, over to you.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible. Dr. Shanti, you need to stop screen share. Please click on the stop sharing button. Yeah, I think over to you, Dr. Madhusudan, please.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much, sir, for inviting me to moderate this session. And this is one of the times in the year, one of the many times in the year where we feel proud to be pediatricians by being involved in such a noble cause which has such far-reaching implications. And today in the panel with me, we have distinguished panelists. First of all, Dr. Ajay Kumar, who has been the past president of the Twin Cities branch, as well as the NNF Telangana state branch. I had the opportunity to meet him for the first time in PATS-CON last year. So he's such a dynamic and inspiring personality. And then we have, of course, an equally dynamic Dr. Sri Krishna, whom most of us are familiar with on all the events that happen in Telangana and in Hyderabad. He's the secretary of the IAPTCB. And I have with me Dr. Monica Reddy, who is my colleague here. She is the assistant professor of pediatrics at AIIMS BB. So without wasting much time, I would just request Monica first to just give us an overview of where we are right now and where do we want to go. So in terms of the targets that we want to reach with national and state statistics, especially with regard to these rising cesarean section rates that we see and discuss. Over to you, Dr. Monica.
Dr. Monica, you can unmute and speak.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. And thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to be a part in this panel discussion. So we all know that breastfeeding is a very important intervention for child survival and development. And like all over the world, we are working towards improving the breastfeeding rates. And the three mantras to start breastfeeding within the first 1 hour of life, or now even within the first 30 minutes of life, exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months, and then continued breastfeeding with the nutritious complementary feeding for the next 2 years and even beyond. So we all are aware regarding all the work that is going on to improve these rates. However, there is still a lot of gap if we look at the local level, national level, and even at the global level. So the global data from the UNICEF and the WHO says that the global breastfeeding rates within the first hour of birth are around 40%. That means that only 2 out of the 5 newborns are being fed breast milk within the first hour of life. And if you look at the Indian data from the NFHS 5, the scenario is more or less the same. So throughout the country, the first hour breastfeeding rates are around 40 to 42%. The exclusive breastfeeding rates are slightly better, which is at 64%. And it is definitely beyond the WHO target to reach exclusive breastfeeding of 50% rates by 2025. So in that part, we are slightly doing better. However, considering that we have nearly 88% of institutional births, out of which 62% are in the public health facilities and 90% are by the skilled health personnel. So if you look at this data, it is still very meager rates if you look at the first hour breastfeeding rates, where we expect it to be much better. And if you look at the rates from Telangana, so the first hour breastfeeding rates are again at around 37 to 38%. And what is more challenging here is that nearly the C-section rates are nearly 61%. So while it is at around 22% at the national level, in Telangana, the C-section rates is around 61%, and that poses specific challenges to improve the first hour breastfeeding rates and even for sustaining the breastfeeding for the first 6 months of life. So, so there is a huge gap we can see at the local level and at the national level, and much more work needs to be done in this direction.
Okay, thank you for summing up the statistics. So, especially with regard to this early initiation of breastfeeding, I would like to ask Dr. Ajay Kumar, who has had a vast experience with this in this field in particular. What exactly is the problem, and do we have any specific solutions which can be put to in our context? I know our context itself is a very broad terminology. Like if you take a PHC or a district hospital to a corporate hospital, the scenario and situations and challenges may be completely different. So can you just give us a broad overview of how to improve our early breastfeeding rates?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Madhusudan. Thank you, Dr. Monica, for giving this overall picture. After hearing since morning the wonderful, inspiring speeches and speakers, it makes me feel and think why we are going back in Telangana from the past almost 3 decades of our work by IAP, pediatricians, everybody. So this statistics is very appalling, actually. So, coming to your question, how to initiate? So, from advocacy to action is what we have to do. What I have seen that from way back in 1995, when I conducted the first breastfeeding workshop to train our doctors themselves, how to have a available lactation counselor at the each delivery, or at least a person who's delivering in the area of delivering units, to counsel the mothers before delivery and also after delivery, the knowledge to give milk as soon as possible after the birth. This particular mantra, what Dr. Monica has said, is lacking even today after 3 decades of our sustained work both by the IAP government. But I'm very glad this year, with the helm of affairs of our government and BPNI, IAP, and our president Dr. Ramesh has said, some sort of push has to be there among the health workers themselves. See, our population, the mothers themselves, are absolutely like a slate, and we have to write on their slate what is correct and what has to be practiced. Sometimes when we go to our colleagues' places where these mothers deliver, especially from private practice point of view, I'm talking about, not from rural practice or from the government services institutes, they themselves are not very encouraging for initiating the breastfeeding in the initial 1 week. But things have changed over last 3 decades, as I have noticed in this field. Even today, our colleagues are at least advising moms to initiate the feeding. So we need a good trained health worker available at the time of delivery with the orientation towards the lactation, good lactation practices. I think this is what my observation is. Of course, cesarean sections have gone up from 100% to now 67% in Telangana. Very, very alarming, shocking. But then that was the cause, that is the cause, but still it can overcome. We have seen Dr. Faridi telling us, mother don't have to do anything, baby doesn't have to do anything, but just a worker has to assist in the supine position, keeping the what we call is as breast crawl. We are all aware of that. So we have to see that this knowledge is transmitted to our colleagues in the birthing places. Sir.
Yes, I think rightly, as you said, the gap between advocacy and action is quite large. On one hand, it seems such a basic thing where the baby is designed for it and the mother is also designed for it. But just for them to be together in that first hour and to start the process and sustain it is what we have to think of. Like Dr. Sri Krishna, I think the next thing was sustaining breastfeeding. Though we have a lot of evidence to say that when the first hour is right, that improves the chances for continuing for the next 6 months. And here, of course, there are many factors. There's a family, then there's a workplace, and then there's a society at large. So here, where all do we have to act, and how do we have to act, especially as pediatricians? What can we do so that exclusive breastfeeding rates can improve? Dr. Sri Krishna, can you take up this question? Are you here? Or Dr. Monica, you can start and he can join later.
Yeah, so while the initiation of the breastfeeding in a timely manner during the golden hour is one part, sustaining it and continuing it throughout the first 6 months and then beyond is again an important challenge. And as they say, it takes a village to bring up a baby. So the family and the community support is very much essential. Generally the husband and the mother-in-law and other family members, they are like the gatekeepers of the family, and they are the ones who are the most essential pillars for the mother in this journey. So we know that there are several prevalent beliefs in the community, including in terms of prelactials like giving honey or sugar water, or food fats like restricting certain foodstuffs to the mother, which again affect the maternal nutrition during the period of breastfeeding, and discarding the colostrum, which is the most nutritious and which is rich in all the protective factors for the baby. So there is still, I think, a lot of knowledge gap at the community level, and will require immense efforts from all the healthcare community to reach to the grassroots level, to the doorsteps of all these families. And in addition to that, I think, as we have seen in the previous presentation, involving the father, this breastfeeding the journey, I think will definitely have a lot of benefits. So they should be involved right from the antenatal period, where the mother, the father, and the entire family is given or is properly counseled regarding what is expected and how to go about it when it comes to breastfeeding and even the rest of the care of the baby. And another important challenge I feel for the sustaining of the breastfeeding is especially for the working mothers, the practices at the workplaces. Though we have good legislation in terms of paid maternity leave at the government level, still the scenario is very bleak in the unorganized sector. And these mothers definitely require a lot of support at the workplaces, even after they join back work after the maternity leave, in terms of having a separate area to continue breastfeeding the babies, having creche facilities, having facilities to pump the breast milk and to store it appropriately. So I think these areas are still big challenges in our community so far.
what about this 6 months maternity leave? Like, as a student, we just used to know it, but now I feel like it's such a crucial time where complementary feeds are being started, and where the mother's presence is so important. Dr. Ajay, like, sir, what do you feel about this 6 months cutoff? Does it make sense scientifically, and should it be more? Should we advocate for more maternity leave?
Yeah, the, coming to the first 6 months itself was a big challenge, a decades of work from many people, organizations, to convince the authorities and the government agencies to get this particular thing done state-wise, one after another. Now, extending beyond 6, we know that a child care does not end, a newborn care does not end when they finish 6 months. And we are talking about 2 years and beyond, that the feeding should continue in our Indian setup 2 years and beyond, while starting solids at the age of end of 6 months. So how do working mothers do this? I have a lot of patients in my practice who are working in Hyderabad. We have got software industry, software engineers. So talking from their point of view, many of the mothers have become enlightened now. And though they are not uniformly acceptable or doing the practice, but they have learned. Monica has said pumping or using breast pumps, extracting milk, doing EBM, keeping it at home, and then trying to, teach their baby care person at home, a constant care. If not there, a mom is not there, and using the EBM till she comes back, or having a breaks, or probably taking the baby to the workplace where their creches are available. But having a leave beyond 6 months, we were talking about paternity leave, not maternity leave. The husband is also allowed to take leave for first 2 months at least. I know about some places, some companies, at least in the private setup, do give paternity leave also. So having a leave from the work, paid leave, or at least non-paid leave beyond 6 months is a challenge which need to be advocated, which needs to be discussed with the authorities and take pros and cons about it. At one point there's economic loss, at other point the baby care. The one more point we have seen in our pandemic, there are psychological problems also of not working. There's no support in the nuclear families. So it's a challenge definitely to go beyond a 6 months leave period. So
yeah. Another option probably would be more flexible work options. Like, I know of my colleagues in the West who work half the working days as their male counterparts, even they opt for it. They may get paid half, but at least there is the option of working half the amount. Maybe that can be explored. Dr. Sri Krishna, I think I lost you in between. Like, would you want to add anything here with respect to sustaining breastfeeding?
Yes, just a couple of points, and this is very much related to the theme. I hope you all can see this. Just a few points, Dr. Madhusudan, which I wanted to share, because the question was on challenges and the support which is needed. Now, the support involves many actors and various levels, and women need support from the health service, the community, workplace, everyone. And this is called the warm chain of support for breastfeeding. And if we don't provide this warm chain, we won't be able to support them. And the support starts not just antenatal care, I would say much before birth. When the child is adolescent, that is from where you need to start working on. And parents need to have
some problem with his connection.
Yeah, I think he changed it. Dr. Sri Krishna.
Okay, since we are short of time, we'll start with the next question, and he can continue once he joins.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask you, sir, like regarding milk banking.
Dr. Madhusudan, I'm sorry, this very flaky internet. I just make 2-3 comments, and these are very important points. I apologize for the poor internet connectivity. I'm at the State Training Institute and very bad net here. So I was just talking about the support. The support involves many people, many levels of support. And we have support in the antenatal period, during pregnancy and before birth, labor and delivery or birth. Doctors are the ones who are responsible. We need provide this particular support, and how can we improve by doing sessions like this, advocating for implementation of mother-friendly and baby-friendly hospitals, integrating these policies into quality of postnatal care also needs to be supported, support the midwives.
I'm not able to hear him again. Dr. Sri Krishna, are you here?
I think
Okay,
this,
I think he can continue once he is back. So, sir, Dr. Ajay Kumar, sir, what is your experience with the milk banking, and how has it changed the scenario in our country over the years?
yeah, I recently attended a LAMCON conference. I hope you all also attended in Hyderabad last year. And way back about 3 decades away, about almost 1995, 96, when Armida Fernandez, Madam National President, then National President of NNF, came to Hyderabad, Nilafar, and talked about milk banking facility, which she was doing and launched in Mumbai, in the municipal hospital there, in a very large municipal hospital. It was like a dream for me to hear somebody talking about human milk banking. But today in Hyderabad at least, and I heard during the conference in LAMCON, there are 300 milk banks all around in the country working very well. And it has really done wonders. And we have mothers who are donating milk here. There are Yashodas, they are by title, that means 4.5 liters they have donated over a period of time. So milk banking definitely went out of vogue after becoming very popular because of the infectious disease like HIV when it came in, and people started having some sort of hesitancy. But when we talked about sterilizing it and doing the various other testing and then again it has come back, and now it's a very popular adjuvant or a addition to needed newborns in successful breastfeeding, especially in the preterm, especially in the hospital sick babies, and also for the abundant babies and etc.
Yeah, that's true, sir. Okay. I think Dr. Sri Krishna is having a problem with his internet connection. Dr. Monica, would you like to add anything to any of the questions discussed so far, or give your closing remarks? I think we are already short of time now.
Just
Yeah,
unmute
so
yourself.
yeah, so as has already been emphasized, I think we need to focus primarily in two areas, one at the community level and then at the facility-based services. And appropriate knowledge and training of the skilled birth attendants and the community health workers, I think at this level is going to go a long way in improving the breastfeeding initiation and continuation rates. Since we know that more than 90% of the births in our country are facility-based or are attended by a skilled birth attendant. So that will be a major area which we should focus on and which may give good results in the long term.
Okay, thank you. Sir, with your vast experience in different areas, so what would you like to tell all pediatricians on how they could contribute to improving these rates?
Yeah, they have to learn certain points of how to advise, how to counsel. This is the basic thing which we are missing. The knowledge is there, but actually doing a course on lactation management is very, very important. I did it about 25 years back or 20 years back and then practiced. I learned a lot of things, and today what we are talking in this whole of 1 week which we are hearing was almost unknown to medical students, even postgraduates of those days. At least today we know this language. So all pediatricians should teach the people surrounding them, like how we do NRP, how do we do learn NRP, and tell our participants that go and practice and also teach your neighbors who are working in your work environment. So lactation counseling should be taught to our colleagues, not only that you know. And I'm glad nowadays postgraduates are coming out with wonderful knowledge, and then with this missionary zeal to, advocate and implement lactation. Certain points which definitely I would like to add is demonstrate the attachment, position, and proper holding of the baby to the mother will go a long way in the first 3 days after birth. Antenatal advice is there, but what mothers need it is in the first 2 to 3 days, which will make and break the successful lactation. So our doctors, there are certain things like how do we go privacy, or a little bit of a male doctor trying to advise a female mother who's there about etc etc. But that's why you should always have a team who can help, from a mother-in-law, from, as Dr. Reddy said, from a husband or from the nursing staff, even the mother of the patient, even the relatives of the patient, to be taught the technique of attachment and holding the baby's position. These are the two things where the failures are occurring. We have seen it in the first 48 hours, or at least the first 72 hours. And simultaneously trying to tell them to give colostrum. We all know colostrum is good, but our mothers still have some hesitancy. They want your endorsement. Talk and make a statement. Don't think that, yeah, she's an educated mother, she knows the goodness about the colostrum. But we have to tell, they wait for us. Like in our practice, we tell about the vaccination. You should talk about the breastfeeding techniques of attachment and position and the colostrum usefulness in the beginning or at the time of birth, or whenever you get an opportunity in the first 3 days. 3 days is very crucial. Not only the first golden hour, but the first 3 days is crucial for many mothers, even the second time mothers. Forget about the primary mothers, which need longer care, but at least the second time mothers also. They do need hand holding. They do need support. They do need education or advice or promotion of the breastfeeding has to be inculcated as a healthcare center, health workers practice in day-to-day care of the newborn and the delivery centers. Sir. Dr. Madhusudan.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so I think we are coming to the end of this session. So I am thankful to both Dr. Ajay Kumar, Dr. Monica, and Dr. Sri Krishna for joining this panel discussion. Special thanks to Dr. Ajay for sharing from his vast experience. And as he said, there's a huge gap between advocacy and action, but that is something which is closing. There is a lot of hope as awareness is increasing. With multiple stakeholders, we need to work on at different levels on different people, right from the father to the mother-in-law, to the rest of the family, to the society at large, and to the large number of health workers who are involved in delivery. And as sir rightly said, it's as pediatricians, whatever specialty or super specialty we may do, this will be our primary responsibility anywhere, and society also expects us to do this. So there it would be good if we all continue to learn as well as teach and empower both mothers and healthcare workers. So with these words, I would like to end this session. Thank you so much, Dr. Ajay, Dr. Monica, and Dr. Sri Krishna. So over to you, Dr. Sri Krishna.
Thank you.
I think we have Dr. Vamshi for the vote of thanks. Are you here? Sir, are you here? Okay, I don't think he has joined us yet. So on his behalf, I would like to thank all the speakers from morning who have shared their experiences, and thanks to the COVID pandemic, which has brought in a new mode for us to look at each other and interact with each other right from the place where wherever we are. We are that way lucky to share so much more than we did earlier, probably. So thank you again to all the speakers. And with this, I would close the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Madhusudan, Dr. Ajay, Dr. Monica. My apologies, as it often happens, we are stuck in something else. and I was not able to get a proper connectivity. I'm at the State Training Institute, and like it happens in breastfeeding, we have multiple stakeholders supporting each other. And thanks to Dr. Madhusudan, we were able to complete this panel discussion as well. Sincere thanks to Dr. Faridi, Dr. Shanti, Dr. Yadeya, and the entire team of this panel discussion, Dr. Ajay Kumar sir, Dr. Madhusudan, Dr. Monica. It's been a wonderful interaction over the past 2 hours. IAP Twin Cities branch commits to step up its efforts for the purpose of breastfeeding. And I request all the IAPTCB members and also others who are watching this to please join us in this endeavor. Thank you, everyone. And we look forward to hosting you again at the next webinar. Thank you.
Thank you
very
so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.